Hello everyone. I know that you're all on the edge of your seat since I posted my last video earlier this morning or earlier this afternoon about this pen. And I know that you were worried that I was going to break it trying to fix it, and I just wanted to let you know that that did not happen. The pliers and the hand of the pen god here and fate were on my side, and I have put a sack in it. I have not yet secured the sack with shellac because I think it might be clogged a little bit. I did fill it with water, and then I filled it with some ink so I can play with it, so I can show you how much fun it is. But the sack has not been secured to the sack nipple. But it now has some 50, 60-year-old Carter's blue-black ink in it. Carter's blue-black ink. And it's writing just fine. My lower lip, for some reason, well, I know exactly the reason. My lower lip hurts because in putting this thing up to my mouth to blow through it to see if the ink channel was open, this little sharp point went right into my lip. And it hurt, as you would imagine it would. And I just looked in the mirror and saw that it did not, in fact, make a permanent mark on my lower lip. So, what do I think of this pen now that it's essentially fixed? I'll let you know in a second. I just scribbled with it, as you saw here, before I tried to fix it. And the very thin lines that it was getting right here seem thinner than the lines that I'm getting right here. And I don't know if that's just because now there's ink being pushed, or if I'm just drawing, I guess I'm drawing slow, writing slower here. For me, the fine lines that I can get with a pen are often got by not only having a pen that has a fine nib, but you also have to write fast, and you have to write with negative pressure. You almost have to lift the pen up off the page, because even the weight of the full pen might press down too much. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again, that there's a couple of calligrapher friends of mine told me a little trick, which I will share with you, is in order to help them have that light touch, what they'll do is they'll take a piece of newspaper and fold it a couple of times over. And you'll have this, and then they put the envelope or whatever they're writing on top of this, so that there's this upward cushion pressing up against the pen nib. So as you're writing, you can lift your hand up off the page, but there's still pressure being pushed up against the pen nib. So the nib is still making contact to a degree, even if you're sort of pulling back. So You'd have to learn, of course, to do that carefully, because when you think you're done with a stroke and you lift the pen up and you move it away to go to the next word, you find that there's a line going from here to there because you didn't lift up far enough. You have to remember that. But imagine after you ruin a couple of lengthy poems you wrote or envelopes you're calligraphing for a wedding, that you'll soon learn how to do it correctly. But anyway, let's take this pen through its paces here. This would make a drawer happy, I think. Someone who wants to draw with a nib that's fine, but with a little tiny bit of flexibility able to happen. It would be good for a certain kind of a calligrapher, and it would be good for many writers. A sophisticated calligrapher would find it too sedate. It doesn't do enough. They would want it to be more flexible than it is. They might want it to be more fine than it is, even though it's pretty darn fine. I think this pen would fit best in the hands of a draftsman. I say draftsman rather than a sketcher. There are a couple of urban sketcher friends of mine in the local urban sketching group that draw with these micron needle point. I don't know, they're in millimeters or parts of millimeters or something that they describe their pen nibs, and they're micron felt tip black pens. And I always think, when you can use a pen like this instead of one of those, wouldn't you prefer that? Would this not be better than a fine pointed micron pen? I'm trying to figure, the felt tip, is that what they are? And just because you do have the ability to have a little tiny bit of pressure happening, and that's the thing that I wonder. So I may actually bring this pen to our local meetup that we're having tomorrow, and I may offer this. Yeah, see, this really needs to be the ink channel needs to be cleaned. And I could put this in a ultrasonic cleaner and get every little particle of the old ink out, but what fun is that? Well, some people would find it fun. I'm too impatient for that. So I may offer this pen and maybe some other pens like it to people who want to borrow it for a week. I see these people every week, and I don't know where they live exactly, but I trust them. And I know that they care for their pens, so they would borrow my pen and I'd feel good about getting it back unbroken or unlost. And they may end up wanting to buy a pen like this. Maybe not this particular one, but maybe one in the future. I don't know how much ink comes out of a micron tipped drawing pen, but at some point it dies. It runs out of ink and you throw it away, and it ends up in the mouth of some sort of fish in the ocean. And then you have to buy another one, and there's another fish in the ocean that has to swallow it at the end of its life. Then you have to buy another one, and then it goes on and on and on. Where this pen, if one were to get this instead of a micron pen, even if you had to pay a lot of, I don't know how much micron pens cost, but even if you had to pay 30 times or 40 times or whatever times the amount for a pen that you could use for the rest of your life, and give to someone else's children on your deathbed, think of how happy the fish are going to be. Yes, 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 I know the people at the Micron factory in China or wherever they're made are going to be out of work, but too bad. You know, I don't know how economics works, but it doesn't. I'll just put it that way. Someone's being screwed somewhere. It's not just the fish that are being screwed, while someone's getting rich. Now, the owner of this pen, the company that owns this pen, that made this pen, is long out of business. I'm in business now, but barely. But the idea of having a pen, one pen for the rest of your life, rather than a stream of Sharpies like this or whatever you draw with that require the felling of rainforests and the spewing of toxins into the atmosphere and the dead fish washing up on shore with a Sharpie sticking out of their ass. Wouldn't it be better to avoid that by just buying this pen and using this for the rest of your life? Write your answers below. I do have to fix this though. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna empty it of its ink, hopefully, and I'm gonna take the section out of the barrel, hopefully, without breaking it. Actually, it seems... Is it clear now? It's still wheezing. It's still... You can hear it sort of gasping. Because it's well, I'll show you in a minute. So I'm taking this out carefully so I don't break it this time. You see the sack is smushed down. There, now it's finally up. So I'm going to take the sack out because I didn't glue it. Wipe off the old ink, which in this case is old ink. It's Carter's ink from 1950. 1940, I don't know. Big bottle of Carter's ink I have. Okay, so there's just an ink channel here that's clogged. Yeah, see, I'm blowing in and nothing's coming out really. So this will go into the water, and the sack and the cap and everything will go up here so I know where it is. And I will let it soak overnight and see if tomorrow it is functioning. Meanwhile, I have... Where did it go? Is this the pen? No. I have its little brother, or little sister, the Corinth. This nib is stubbier. Again, it wants me to write forward. The whole pen is shorter and it has a broader nib, and it makes me want to be more stubborn and angry. That pen that's now soaking didn't have that feel to it. It had a much more delicate, friendly, polite. That's the word I want. It had a politeness to it that this one lacks. This one is the person that parks his car a little bit over the line so that you taking up a little bit more than his space so you can't get your car in there. That's what this one does, loudly. Car needs also a muffler. It's nice though, and you know, there's something... Sometimes you want a pen like that that makes you want to be aggressive. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. I am Mr. Butterfingers these days, and I wonder if something's wrong with my neurology. This is a pen that I've been using for quite some time. It has an extremely fine nib in it, and it's a Sheaffer Feather Touch nib, I think. Or is it a Lifetime? Where's my eyeballs? I stand corrected. It's a Lifetime nib. They put a lot of trust in putting that name on this nib. This seems more delicate than normal Sheaffer pen nibs, and sometimes you see nibs like this on their Feather Touch models, not their Lifetime models. But there's the Lifetime thing there, and it says Lifetime on the nib. And but it's really, really fine. And I'm doing these portraits of artists right now for a job, and the heads are not really bigger than this, inch tall. And for me to be able to have enough of their features drawn, I needed to use a really thin line. And so I'm using this pen for that. So far it's done very well. And then to punch it up, I use this pen for some nice bold lines in there, here and there, to make it punchy. I want that pen to be unclogged right now so I can play with it. I hate when this happens, when I have to wait. Don't you hate that? That's why you need so many pens, because you can take that other pen, this one, for example, and you can write that angry letter. It's pretty sweet, this one. Well, I'm telling you it's angry and it's sweet at the same time. Well, after the argument, you'll get some flowers. You'll make up. Okay, call a doctor. I need to figure out why I can't hold on to a pen. See ya.